All right, I want to make a quick little video on what sort of motorcycle or scooter do you need to ride this Mae Hong Son Loop. I'm partway through the ride now. Great learning experience. I've never done any long distance motorcycle riding before. I've always done more of a overnight thing, or what I call a spoke and hub approach. I'll park myself somewhere like Africa and I go off in different directions and then join group rides, but I've never done this, a couple weeks at a time on the road. I think before. This is what I'm renting down south, an ADV 160. And I was told, I read all kinds of blogs that I needed a much bigger bike for this trip. And this is actually what I'm renting over here, which is Honda 350. It's nice, the extra power. It's more money, depends what your budget is. For me, I think it was 5,000 for a week is what they charge in Chiang Mai area. Is a pretty standard price for a bike. I think it's $49.50 for a week. It's only an extra 1,000 baht a week to rent a 350 versus the 160. The 350 does give you a lot of extra power, and of course you get more storage space underneath the seat. You got a lot of storage space. So if you flip open underneath the seat here, you put all your stuff in here. The most important thing I'd say you want to get is make sure the bike has a top box in the back, so you can just store all your water and stuff for the day that you're out riding around. And then lots of bungees. Every shop typically has lots of these bungees. And then I just put the old backpack on top, bungee it down there, and then I take more of this stuff out and put it underneath the seat here. So that way I don't want to have to carry anything on my back. But you don't need bottom line is you don't actually need a bike this big if you're on a really tight budget. The 160, like typically a Suzuki 155 or the Honda 160s is what you see mostly for rental. As long as they got the top boxes on the back, like, you're golden. These have more than enough power for one person to get up and down the hills and around the tight corners. Obviously a full motorcycle gives you much better suspension, but the price point depends on what your price point is. But if you're just going to do this trip solo, a 160 bike I think for me would be the sweet spot if you're like a young kid on a really tight budget. For me, I'd prefer to have the 350 for the extra power. It's only an extra 1,000 baht a week, which is like 50 Canadian dollars, 35 US dollars a week. So it's not a lot of extra money. But do recognize you'll come across Thai families. They're ripping up and down these roads on these little Honda Clicks 125s. And they got 2 to 3 people on these bikes, and they're doing the exact same route that you're going to be doing. Really, the limiting factor becomes storage space. If you've never done any long distance touring before, my recommendation for what I learned on this trip for me personally is top box is mandatory. Got to have a top box. You just don't want anything on your back for days at a time. Having things between your knees gets very old very quickly. I personally bought what I'm wearing plus 3 days of clothes. I like to wear a full face helmet. I like to wear a vented motorcycle jacket, gloves. I brought all that stuff with me from Canada. I don't trust the rental equipment for cheap, shitty stuff for safety. But 3 days of clothes. I bought some laundry lines, some clothes pegs. And I just stay with places like this for a night or two, wash clothes. There's always some lady around who will, wash your clothes for 100 baht, 4 Canadian dollars, and you'll have it back within about an hour. But the main thing is motorcycle, 160, I think if you're on your own and you're on a tight budget would be the sweet spot. If you're happy to spend an extra $50 a week, 35 US dollars a week, then definitely get the bigger bikes like the Honda 350s. You'll have a lot more power. If you got a much bigger budget and you want to double that, then move up to like a 550, 600cc Honda motorcycle. But do recognize, you'll see Thai families all over the place on these 125 clicks, and these young kids who look like they just finished high school who have no money doing the same route on a 125. Now it is slow. You're not going to go fast up and down these hills. Narrow little tires. Not a fun ride, but you can do it. That's the bottom line. Hopefully that's helpful.